Could you tell them what sort of a person you are?
I don't know at all. I just live moment to moment. So you cannot confine me into a personality. You cannot define me. You cannot predict me. I don't know even myself what I am going to do tomorrow morning. I am simply as open as the existence and as indefinable as the existence itself.
What's up, guys? Welcome back once again, very special episode today. You know, and I say that all the time, but it's always true. It's always true because each one of these is special in their own way for their own reason. And today is special because for the first time in goddamn history, I actually have what I would consider a lifelong. I think it's safe to say we're lifelong friends at this point.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Past the halfway point.
Yeah, known you forever.
So, pretty cool. I'm gonna give my friend here, Mike.
Yeah.
Right. This is Mike, my guest.
How's it going?
I'm gonna give you a little intro, Mike,
Yeah.
and just a little basic, rough summary.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna let you fill in what you want to fill in,
Okay.
and then I'll refill in all the things that you missed.
Okay. I love that.
So again, why this is so special to me is because, unlike any other guest, I've actually got to witness so much of your life, good things, bad things, changes, growth, and it's been a really cool experience to have that firsthand, you know, sort of seat and vision into it. And I don't get to say that about a lot of people. You know?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
So that's it. I told you it was going to be quick, and now I'm going to let you, Mike. Who are you?
Yeah. Man, that's a hard question.
It really is.
For sure.
I
Yeah.
start them out hard because they only get easier.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, my name is Mike. You know, I've known Austin for at least 15 years.
At least.
Yeah.
At
Yeah. You ordained my wedding.
I fucking ordained this man's wedding. By the way, I'm an ordained minister.
Yep.
Should you need any ordination, I'm your guy. Hit me up.
Literally the best. Seriously,
I don't know
like
about that.
whatever. Honestly, like you changed the whole vibe at the wedding, so I appreciate you.
Cool, man.
100%.
Fuck,
Yeah.
that feels good to hear.
But yeah, so man, we go so far back from when we were kids. We were hooligans, to be honest. We did a lot of crazy stuff together.
Yeah.
To growing up now. I mean, you have a bunch of kids now, beautiful kids.
A bunch.
A bunch.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
Fair. And then I actually have an adopted child too, son. Yeah, his name is Dax.
You recently
fantastic.
became a father, man.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you so much, man.
That's awesome.
Actually, a little over a year. And so I gotta say, this last year has opened my mind up in so many different ways. Like I've grown up as a person this last
It's
year.
visible from
Yeah.
people watching from an outside perspective to see the changes that you've demonstrated.
Yeah,
And it's really fucking amazing.
yeah. I appreciate that, man.
It was actually
Yeah.
a topic that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
at
that's
some
awesome.
point.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to cut you off. Is that
Oh
it?
no, yeah, like
Is that it? Is it your intro?
nah, yeah. I mean, we could keep going, or we
No,
can
we're
stop
gonna
there.
keep
All
going. Oh,
right.
yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm just kidding. No, we have too much.
There you go.
We have too much.
Yeah.
So while we're here, I want to say, you know, I think about you and I think about our little friend group and what determines, you know, the value or success. I don't like to use that word because usually when we think of success, we line it up with certain things that don't necessarily have the same impact on everybody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, financially, I don't know that any of us would guess that you would be near the top of our friend group. No offense.
No, yeah.
I'm just saying this man's balling. He drives a Tesla. All right. So if that's any indication,
Yeah. Yeah.
he does great. You work hard. You know, you're very, very cool person. You're laid back, and you're a leader. You're in a leadership role for what you do. You started out, you know, I know there's a lot that I'm gonna miss, you know, looking objectively at your life, but I remember when you were doing weed tours.
Yeah.
Right? Up in, what was it?
Up in Denver.
Denver, yeah.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of time where you're at now in the sales industry, selling, you know, all kinds of paraphernalia and illegal drugs.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
He never sold illegal drugs, guys. But you did work your way up considerably.
Yeah.
And now you're in a position where you train people to hopefully find success the same way that you did.
Yeah. 100%.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. Like, so it's interesting. So when growing up, I always just wanted to be stable, but I also wanted to be in a place where it felt right. It was never forced. And so literally for my whole life, when an opportunity came, I took it. So I never actually sought after different jobs and things like that.
Okay.
They all came to me, which is very interesting. So literally for the last 10, 12 years, I've built resumes and I've like made them, but
Sure.
I've never actually had to utilize one.
You
I would
had to
actually
go and ask someone for
No, they would
position.
actually come to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually, in my resumes, I actually put this joke. This is actually to my nephew Jake's thing. So in every resume I write, I put can cook minute rice in 58 seconds. And so when I'm in the
that's genius,
yeah.
bro.
So when I'm in the actual like interview, I just see if they read that to see if they're actually reading the resume.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I can dictate how I could actually control the
How
conversation.
much do they care? Yeah.
Yeah, which nobody reads the resumes. It's,
What a great idea. And not only
Yeah.
that, if they do read it, then they're going to get a slice
yeah,
of your
exactly.
personality.
100%. Yeah.
Which I think is important when you're hiring someone. That's why, you know, in my experience, I could send out, you know, 20 resumes to 20 different people, or I could talk to 3 different people, and I'm getting a for sure interview on the 3 that I talk to.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it means so much.
Yep. Well, in you're like, just like yourself, like I can sell myself in person, but on paper, it's hard because we live in a day and age where they're literally like, if I'm looking for somebody, like I have to hire my own team, I looked through over 300 resumes to interview 4 people.
Yeah.
So, so you have
You're
to do
looking at
things
a lot
like
of
that.
statistics and numbers, and these people are less of a person.
Yep,
on
history,
paper.
and then after that, like in the video and phone interviews, like you just pick up on certain cues, and it's not even like it's some of the answers, but it's also like how they carry themselves. Like, are they going to look me in the eyes when we're talking? Like, are they going to make a joke? Like, how is this person going to be memorable? To
Yeah.
me? You know what I mean?
Especially in a sales role,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, 100%.
Because you can't just go there and spit the script
yeah, yeah. It's,
and expect to, you know, rank it in.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. So, yeah, no, like, so for me looking, or like my career, just kind of where it was. So, you know, one of my first jobs, I actually made snowboards.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, which was crazy.
And you're an avid snowboarder, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like perfect.
Yeah, that's where it's this side, right?
Yeah, it looks,
yeah.
oh my
I got-
God, you guys see
I
this?
got 15 staples in my head for running into a tree, and I had to ride all the way down the backside of Mary Jane.
That's
So
blood everywhere.
yeah, I almost passed out. It was crazy. Yeah. But no, I did that for a long time. And right after that, I moved to the mountains and tried to be a lifty for a little bit. And
Yeah.
if you want to snowboard, don't do that because you're going to be so busy working all the time that you can barely do anything fun. And so
Yeah.
at that point, like I met Christy, my wife,
Okay.
which is amazing.
Shouts out to Christy.
Yep, she's fantastic. And then after that, you know, we wanted something a little more. Summit County was hard to live in just because there's not much opportunity. So,
Yeah.
so we
Very high cost of living.
Yeah. So we like to say that we streamlined our just dating. So, you know, after a couple of months of living together, we actually bought an RV and we tried to go travel in it, and it was this RV that we literally spent $2,000 on.
Yeah.
We fixed it up real nice on the inside, but later on we come to find out we drive to Chicago and broke down on the side of the road, and we're like, oh great,
That's where you live now.
Yeah, exactly. At least we have the house.
About an RV, dude.
Exactly. Yeah. So after we did that for a little bit, and then we came back to Denver, and you know, you've known me before, Christy, too. Like I was very go with the flow, and she kind of helped me like become a man in certain ways. Like
Sure.
as far as like
I'd say you still have aspects of that
Yeah.
characteristic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure,
But she
definitely.
kind of helped me professionalize myself.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And just kind of
Absolutely.
take care of certain things. And
She
so
definitely has that, area
yeah.
pretty well stamped down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Very professional.
I always tell like people I work with, I'm like if you meet my wife, don't fire me and hire her. Like
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
That's a good. Yep. That's a good way to illustrate her. The
Yeah.
way she carries herself.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah. So we moved to Denver, and I took a job actually hosting. It was called My 420 Tours, which it's no longer in business now. But I would put people on a party bus. We would go to dispensaries and smoke shops, and
And that was when dispensaries were a relatively new thing, right?
yeah, this was 2012. So this is right when the cannabis industry started.
It was popping.
Yeah,
Everyone was excited.
It was crazy. I put 50 people on a party bus. The party bus, they'd be smoking the
Probably
whole time.
coming from all over, I would imagine.
All over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, I was in New York Times. I was in Time Magazine. Like, I did a
Now,
lot.
so I'm sitting up here with a real ass celebrity right now.
Nah, dude, I had 15
Look 'em
minutes
up.
of fame, and that was it.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I got a lot of cool opportunities. I got to host events for Snoop Dogg, like Rome from Sublime. Like,
Damn.
I got to meet a lot of really cool people that I would have never had that chance if I stayed in the mountains,
Yeah.
So it was,
Yeah. Amongst
it was
other
sweet.
things.
Yeah, 100%.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after that, like, one of the segues that actually got me to leave that place is I smoked a lot of cigarettes back then. I actually smoked probably almost half a pack a day. And one day I stepped outside and it was a hot summer day, and I'm like, I actually don't want this cigarette anymore. So I stopped cold turkey
That was
that
it.
day. Yeah.
That was it.
But that was it was great for me, like growth wise, but that actually that was the worst withdrawal thing I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Yeah, I actually had panic attacks nonstop for 3 months straight. So I
So
actually
it was a powerful learning experience for you too,
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
and maybe encouraging and like a confidence booster that you could do something really challenging.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the things that you've already done.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, and I mean, maybe a conversation, like, if we have time today, like, you know my story a lot more than most, and so, like, I feel like no matter what, I'll get it done, or like I can always do it. Like,
Yeah.
there's not anything that I can't do, and so I didn't have that mindset going into it, but after I was just like, never again. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was one of those growth pieces where,
Conviction.
yeah,
You set your mind to it, and you decided that's
yeah,
it's gonna happen.
yeah, 100%.
That's cool. That's a really important character trait, I think,
Yeah,
especially for someone in your position.
yeah, appreciate that.
And we can allude a little bit more to that if we have the time, but there are a couple things that I
Yeah.
do want to address. The first one, and I've been thinking about this since you said it, is about you looking for stability and not having to feel forced in anything that you do.
Yeah.
So my question to you on that topic would be, what for you categorizes that into a place where you don't feel forced? Like, what does that mean? Explain that a little bit.
So, I mean, growing up, we were poor. Like, and so, for me, like, probably from when I was like 16 up until I was like 23, 24, stability was being able to just afford to live.
Yeah.
And also afford to do like a fun thing here and there, you
Yeah.
know? After I got that little taste, I wanted more, and I wanted more and more. But when I say that, like, I just wanted to have fun and have life experiences.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, like, I think I got spoiled a lot because one of my first jobs, like I just turned 21, I was hosting these cannabis tours that were literally like world renowned.
We were all jelly, bro.
I know. Yeah, it was wild. Like
just a bunch of potheads growing up, smoking weed in the basement. Not even great weed, because you heard it from him himself. We didn't have a lot of money.
Exactly.
What we would call the chronic.
Right.
At that point.
100%.
But we did.
Yeah.
We did smoke a lot, and we were still smoking when you were doing that. And it was like, damn, dude, that shit's...
Yeah. It was crazy that literally you get told, like, from everybody as a child, like, oh, you're going to grow up to nothing. And honestly, that was another driving factor, is like, well, I'm going to prove you wrong. Like,
bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so that was a piece of it for sure. And then once you get a little taste of like, hey, I can eat whatever I want. Like I can go grab an amazing steak that's like $100. Like it's awesome. Like I don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay my rent next month or anything like that. Like is huge. But not only that piece too. I don't like to enjoy things by myself. You know, and so like I would always like try to take care of the people around me. Yeah. Where it's like, hey, like you're going without, like let's go have an experience that you typically wouldn't have. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I could speak to that too.
Yeah.
Firsthand.
Hell yeah.
Because I've been on the beneficiary side of your hospitality.
Hell yeah, dude.
And I do appreciate it.
Of course, man.
I hope I let you know that enough. But if not, I'm going to tell you for fucking everybody to hear.
Dude, I appreciate it. But the thing is, like, one of the things that I have a hard time is taking compliments and stuff. Sure. Like, you know, there's so many like different languages that people like. It's a love language or things like that, and I'm still learning them, to be honest. But for me, it's always been tough to actually like take gratitude and be like, "Oh, thank you so much, Mike." It legitimately makes me feel uncomfortable. Yeah. Versus like.
Well, that's not what you're doing it for.
Yeah.
You don't do it for the praise.
Not at all. I'm just like, yeah, here you go. Like, let's go have fun. Like, that's it. So.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, thank you for that. And the second thing, and arguably the more important thing, because when I think of this, I've said this to multiple guests, that like really there's not a lot of conditions for me to ask someone to come up here with me. But one of them is that I feel like I need to be inspired by this person before I, because if I take someone up here and they don't inspire me, how can I expect them to inspire anyone else? Yeah. You know what I mean?
100%.
Which, is a gray area, because what's inspirational to some is different for everybody. But I will say, we talked about this for a second, that you did recently become a father. Yeah. And not in the way that most people do.
No. Yeah.
And so, I've had 2 kids, and neither of them were planned. Mm-hmm. But even with an unplanned child, you still have like a little buffer, like at least 9 months to sort of prepare yourself for what the fuck is about to happen to your life. Mm-hmm. And with you, no preparation phase. You didn't get that. You didn't get to experience that. You had a child that you knew from a family that was in need immediately. Yeah. And you had to make a decision. You didn't get 9 months to sit and think about, hey, what are we going to do? How are we going to afford this? What are we going to blah, blah, blah. I've never had a kid before. You and Christy doing that and taking this child into your home and instilling the values that you have as people into this human being is probably one of the coolest things I've ever got to witness anybody do in my life. And I feel honored that I got to watch a good friend do it. Yeah. And like I was really excited. I've been asking you to come do this for a while.
Yeah, I know.
Dude works on Mondays. This is a Monday thing, all right?
True.
But to have you up here and kind of give you the opportunity to sort of talk about that and what kind of things go into that, because in the last year, like you said, I've watched you grow a lot, and you've become a father in so many ways that I appreciate and respect, with no practice, and like I said, no preparation, and you're someone who I would consider to be a great father.
That's awesome. I really appreciate that.
Hey, for real, and it's so cool, because in a lot of the ways that you've changed, you've retained who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's certain things when you have a child that you have to do differently. Like, you know, there's things that you have to tolerate less or not at all.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's things that you have to add and supplement into your life in order to fill up this child's soul.
Yeah. 100%.
So speak a little to that. How does
Yeah.
how do you feel that it's affected you?
Well, so let me explain the situation for everybody too.
I would like you to, because I didn't want
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, you know, it's been hard, like the last couple of years. So, so I lost my sister, Tina, to an overdose, to be honest. And, you know, unfortunately, it was suicide, which it's tough. It's very tough.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, so that there's been a hole in my heart, honestly, since she passed. And that was, I mean, that was over 5 years ago now at this point. And so Tina was my son Dax's. It was his parent, and you know, yeah. And so see, that was already hard. We were already very involved in Dax's life just because of history there.
Right.
And then so he was left with his dad, Jason, which he was an amazing dad and stuff too. You know, and unfortunately, he also battled with depression and things like that. And so he did take his own life December 1st of prior to last year. So that was
right around the time that you guys adopted.
well, yeah, like this kind of segued into it. So we, I literally am working a trade show and I get a call of him passing away. And I'm freaking out because I knew that I was going to be his dad, which scared me, but also like it was bittersweet. You know, it was so tough because I just lost a very close family member and like
Again.
Yeah, again, and now I know my nephew doesn't have both of his parents. It's so tough, you know, and you know I'm a firm believer of like I've had a lot of people help me like during my childhood as far as like show me the right path and stuff like that.
Right.
And so
Mentors.
yeah, exactly. And so I didn't want his path to be carved. So immediately my whole family, there was like actually 15 of us, sat in a room and we talked about it for a couple hours of like what would be best for Dax. And everybody unanimously decided me and Christy would be that parent, the parents. And not only that too, but Tina and Jason did ask us when me and Christy were young. I mean, I'm 31 now. They asked us when we were like 24, 25 of like, hey, will you be my son's like godparent? And at the time we were like, oh, absolutely. Like we're not going to sign anything because you're not going anywhere. But unfortunately they did. And so.
And you never want to think that.
No, exactly. Like it's like I don't want to put that juju out there, and so. But unfortunately, we kind of had to take care of it after the fact and stuff.
Yeah.
And so unanimously, everybody decided us to be the parents. And we still live in Denver. Everybody, our whole other family lives in Greeley. He lived in Greeley at the time,
Right.
and so all of a sudden, this happened December 1st. By December 15th, we put our house on the market in Denver. We sold it and we moved down to Greeley and bought a house down here. So literally within 15 days, we got a lot accomplished. Me and Christy
you
straight
really
up moved mountains.
You took this and you sent it. You dove in head first.
Yeah.
No reservations, no questions. And I think the unanimous decision was for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a great decision.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, I would have said that a year ago, but after seeing what you guys have done, I couldn't even, it just adds to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other fact, you know, the other part of this is taking a kid who's gone through all these things, you know what I mean? And showing him, like you said, you didn't want his path to be carved, and you're doing an amazing job of showing him, teaching him that it isn't.
Yeah.
Which I think is harder than raising a child from scratch, as it were, right?
For sure. Yeah.
And so I think that's a great thing, man. And I'm I'm sure we can all agree that that's a very tough thing to do. You uprooted, everything,
Yeah.
and that's how you became a father.
Yeah. Yeah, that is. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's I know you're not good at taking compliments, but that is amazing.
No,
man.
I appreciate it. I'm getting better, and this one's huge, and it sticks close to my heart. I mean, once you have a kid, everything changes because I don't want. You always want better for your child, right? And so
Absolutely.
like, I don't want him to take the trait of like he can't accept compliments because I don't.
Sure.
So I'm working on that part of myself, and like just like every other aspect that I think that I can work on to not pass down to him too. Do you know what I mean?
And you don't ever hit a point where you're done growing.
Never.
Hopefully.
Never.
Right? And you can always keep growing and encourage others to grow.
Yeah. I will say, like, before there was a child in my life, before I was a parent, I thought I could do whatever I want. I thought the growth wasn't as visible as when you do have a child.
Yeah.
Growth is a lot more like wanted, and it's a need at that point because you have somebody that you're bringing into this world or like taking over their life to help them dictate the world and help move things along in the future. And so
Yeah.
it's a lot. Yeah.
Well, and you say it's a need, it really is, but to whatever extent that means, not everybody does that.
Yeah.
Not even me as a father. I'm not proud to say it, but I've been a father for 15 years, and I think I've been maybe a good father for half of it.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of the man that I am now because just like you, I realize things that are a need that I direct my attention towards at the expense of my own personal gain or pleasure, even as it were. And I think that's a really, really respectable trait, man. And that's why when I think about the things that you've done, it's not what does Mike want to do, it's what can Mike do to ensure that this child has the best possible chance.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's really cool, man.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. And like it, I don't want this to like be like, oh, I've done everything, I've given everything, because realistically, I only have so much to give, which I try to give that and then some. But ultimately, like Christy, like wow,
Yeah,
yeah,
both of you guys.
yeah, like
And I don't want to talk about this for people who haven't gone through it yet to make them think that like it's so hard and it's
Yeah.
blah blah blah, because I'm sure that as many sacrifices as you've made, you've reaped rewards from this. I could tell, I could see it, I could see the way it lifts you up, because part of having a child is a feeling that I'm not even going to try to sit here and explain.
it's hard.
And really what it comes down to is your biggest, and we've talked about this before, your biggest chance or the most impactful effect that you can have on this world is the future of our people.
Yeah,
And if you don't do anything about the future of the people, then it's up to whoever else does. You know
Right.
what I mean? So the best thing we can do is raise good fucking humans.
yeah, exactly. And just give them the tools that they need that, like, we didn't know was a need as a child.
Sure.
And then now that, like, we have it, we're like, we can pass that along,
Yeah.
which is huge. Yeah, like, yeah. But fatherhood is, it's a roller coaster, but it's fun. It's awesome. Yeah.
It is, man.
Yeah.
There's a whole new purpose. It gives you a whole new sense of purpose, man.
100%.
Which is a telling sign in how long someone can even live for.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people die from not having a purpose than they do from cancer.
Agreed.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And with
Absolutely.
that, I want to kind of segue it into the only rule that I even have on this show. There is no rules, but rule number 2 is I have to ask you this question.
Totally.
And, for me, this is really fun because this is not something that we talk about.
Yeah.
We don't talk about God, right?
Yeah.
Together. That's just not. So I don't even really know your feelings on it. So this is as new to me as it is for anyone else watching this.
Okay.
But I want to ask you, what is God to you? What is God? Who is God?
Okay.
Or not?
Yeah, for sure. That one, that's another hard one for sure. Just because I grew up in a Pentecostal church.
Okay.
When I was young, I had to wear a suit and tie every day. No TV. We didn't listen to radio. We listened to like CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
It was very cut off. I didn't even know cuss words till I was like 8 years old.
Wow.
Like it was very.
So we met after you were 8.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and so like at that time, that's kind of all I knew. But the church kind of pushed me away from it, to be
Sure.
honest with you. And so.
Tell me a little about that. How did that?
So like they kicked out like members of my family of church because they didn't agree with their marriage.
Okay.
Things like that, which it was
Things
like
that
well,
didn't
that's
make sense to you.
out of your control. Like what
Even
are you
as a
talking
young,
about?
a young person. Kind
Exactly.
Of made you
Yeah.
question what you're doing.
Yeah. So that kind of pushed me out. Like. Yeah. And you know we never really got back into it. My mom wanted to try when I was like 12 or 13, and
Yeah.
by that
Give it
time.
another go.
Yeah, by that time I was a hoodlum. Like I had a big fro.
That's probably around the time we met.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
we were causing a ruckus, and so we actually tried another Pentecostal church, and the sermon that they were talking about literally singled me out. We don't like long-haired hippies who like smoke pot and all this stuff, and it's just like okay.
You were like, okay,
never
if
coming
there's
here
ever
again.
a sign from God. right?
100%. Like,
Fuck you.
I looked around and I'm the only person with the fro. So I was like, okay, like, this isn't for me. And so that pushed me away completely. Now, like, religion and stuff, like, I don't have any qualms or anything as
Sure.
far as, like, people, like, believing on what they want because,
Yeah.
I mean, you can believe whatever you'd like.
Yeah.
That's what drives you. But for me, it's more my conscience. Like, whatever I do, does it make me feel better? Does it
Okay.
make me feel like I'm giving like to the people around me and stuff? And that's how I operate. And so, it's not necessarily religion, but like I do feel the sense of like when you do something good, you have good energy. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so
Spirituality.
yeah, so that's what I try to push. I like
So you're not religious. You have
No.
no ties to any religion.
no, yeah.
Okay, but you do consider yourself spiritual.
Yeah, for sure.
So would it be safe? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but could I say like God to you is your conscience?
Yeah,
Is the way you feel when you do certain things.
yeah, for sure. I think the whole like term God is literally everybody has a different view, but
Yeah.
it's all very similar. It's I think so many like places use faith as like kind of
Control.
100% control
Yeah.
to where like it doesn't make sense. It's like for me at least, it's a great way to control a huge group of people.
Right.
And if you need them to push this mountain across the street, they'll do it
Yeah.
as long as they have faith in something. But it was funny. I was actually reading or listening to an audiobook where it was like it was talking about God and this person believes in God and stuff, and it was like, oh, there's this desert, just in the middle of the desert. There's a flower farmer, and I'm totally gonna butcher this, but
That's all right.
but yeah, like
no one else has ever heard this.
so
before.
so he was like planting seeds or whatever, and it's or like this person walking through the desert's like, oh, like I need to see something beautiful, or I want to see like something beautiful. Like I'm gonna butcher it. We'll talk about it a different time. Maybe we'll cut this one out. But ultimately, like there's certain stories where it's like, you know, God is he's not gonna give the world to you, but he's gonna give you opportunities to get things done.
Okay.
Which
So
I
I'm
do
gonna-
believe in things like that.
I'm
Like,
gonna try
it's
to
like-
fill in because I've never heard that story, but
Okay.
I'm gonna say he wants to see something beautiful and he has seeds,
Yeah.
but he needs to plant them
Yeah.
in order and water them and help them grow in order to see it.
Yep.
So that might be. Is that kind of a good fill-in?
Yeah. So it's like very
like
similar.
they're not going to give you the flower; they're going to give you the seeds to plant the flower, and you have to do it.
Yeah, it's like you're not going to walk into this huge, luscious garden and
Yeah.
be like, "Oh God, thank you so much. You gave me everything." And it's like, no, I'm going to give you the opportunities. Here's
Okay.
the seeds. I'm going to make it rain.
The moral of the story is what's important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like just giving you the opportunities and you taking and going after the opportunities, not just watching them
Yeah.
like pass by you. You know, yeah, you always got to get ready to move to do the next thing. So,
Nice.
yeah,
I love that, dude. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an idea.
yeah,
You know, but it's not something that we ever really talk about.
No, yeah, totally, yeah.
I save that kind of shit for this.
I like it.
You know what I mean?
Which is smart. It's, yeah, like it's very raw. Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
So I think we're about good on time.
Okay.
The one thing that I would like to leave the people with, and I do different things at the end of these episodes, but
Okay.
for you, sometimes I ask if you can go back and tell yourself one thing. What I want to ask you is, if you could tell your son one more thing, and you knew that was going to be the last thing that you could tell him, what would you tell him? Last hard question.
Yeah. Dang, I got
Actually, last question.
Yeah. Just believe in yourself, 100%.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, because ultimately, I mean, most people around me, they usually have the right answer, but we live in a society where it's instant gratification and you always second guess yourself.
Yeah.
And so you get stuck in your head and you never pull the trigger. And so
Believe in yourself.
Yeah, as long as you believe in yourself and like you take your first answer. Even if it's not the right one, you're going to learn from it. And the next time you do it, it's going to be the right answer, you know?
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, that's a big one for me.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think with that, we'll do our little outro.
Yeah, dude.
Thank
I love you.
for
That was
being
great.
here. I love you too, man.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Josh, we good on time? He says 2 thumbs up.
Awesome.
All right, guys, that's it. Catch your breath. We'll be back next week. And until then, goodbye forever. Till next time. And remember, goddamn.
I love it.
Yes, dude. Oh, man.